Choose not to live in a world of filters. Realize your mistakes. Set the foundation for your success. Get some wins. Knucklehead Podcast.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Knucklehead Podcast. We've got with us today, you've got with us today, yours truly, the Knucklehead Steven. Let me tell you, I am excited. I'm excited for you to listen to Katelyn Miller. Katelyn, I forgot to plug. So, am I plugging a brand, or are we bringing like Katelyn Miller front and center here?
So Woman Crush Weights is my fitness and nutrition brand. But that, we're bringing both sides to this.
I love it. All right. So Women Crush Weights. Women Crush Weights, is it on Instagram, on Facebook? How do people, Women Crush Weights on Instagram and Facebook. So for all you Marines out there, Women Crush Weights is spelled Women Crush Weights, not Woman Crush Weights. So just for you knuckle draggers like myself, you got to delineate, right, Caitlin?
It actually is woman, WOMAN.
Completely. This is why it's Knucklehead Podcast. It's actually woman, not women. So, yes, way to go, Steven. Anyway, no, I love it. So honestly, that's part of the reason why we have this show. And why we call ourselves Knucklehead is because everybody's going to make mistakes. Everybody screws up, and coming from a world of fitness, or coming from the military, or coming from sales, you have this mindset that you need to do things perfectly in order to execute or get the results that you're looking for. When the fact is, geez, the truth is, it's like everything but that. You learn through failure. You screw up all the time. You have to go out and get some wins. And that's why it's important not to be beta. You don't not be beta. Like, I understand that there's people listening out there that take offense to that, but you got to understand that's why we say that. We got to get your attention to understand that you can't follow the well-worn path of what everybody else is doing. You've got to learn that you will screw up. You got to take some forks in the road. You got to make some bad decisions, and you've got to learn from it. But you've got to be willing to get up there and get on it. So that's why we had Katelyn on the show. Woman Crush Weights. Woman Crush Weights is literally this is a repeat guest, so I'm stoked to have her back on. We actually connected during a competition. She was on was it the ABC NBC affiliate there in San Diego, or all of them? How did you?
It was CBS 8 that I ended up getting aired on here.
Okay, all right. So she was on TV. We're talking to a celebrity. She was on television, and she was winning, or she was in the running for a contest. And I want to know, in that process, what did you learn? How did you start with the expectation of that contest, and how did it go?
It's kind of crazy. So for those of you that don't know, the contest I was involved in was to be the cover model for Muscle and Fitness Hers, and it was really kind of an interesting circumstance because I almost didn't even enter the contest. I had signed up a year ago to be a contestant in it this coming year, but when I initially got the email, I was kind of like, there's no way I'm going to be able to win something like this. I'm not a popular fitness model on Instagram. I have about 3,700 followers. I was kind of like, there's no way. Screw it. I'll try it. Let's just see. I just threw my name in the hat. Let's do this. But I'm the type of person that when I throw my name in for something, I'm going to go all in. So I went all in, and I made it to the top 24, which was pretty incredible.
How many people started in the contest with you?
5,000 in the world, across the world. There were different countries involved too. The actual winner was from Canada.
Wow, that's pretty incredible. Can you hear? Cool. All right, I'm going to take my headphones out. So we've got an audience of more than just me. So, all right. So you, I interrupted you. Woman from Canada won. 5,000 people, over 5,000 people in the world showed up. I didn't know that till now. That's incredible. And you got into the top 24?
I did. Yeah.
No, you actually got into more than that. You got into the top 3, 2, 5. I can't remember.
So I was in the semifinals, but as far as my actual placing, I was in the top 24 when it ended. But I did make it to the second to last round, which was pretty incredible because that contest went on for a month and a half solid.
How, did your Instagram followers like go from 1,700 or 3,700 to through the roof, or how'd that work?
It hasn't gone up by a ton, but what has, excuse me.
Put them in line. You put them in line. I'm just kidding. That's funny.
What has happened is that my Facebook and my networking has grown massively because of it, because it gives me a lot of credibility, and that's what was really important in this. And so one thing that I learned from this is that it made me realize my passion for spreading health and fitness.
Spreading health and fitness. That's awesome.
They never do this.
He wants to be heard. Is it a he or a she? Is it what kind of dog?
Boy.
Of course. I'm not going to hit a dog there. That's awesome. Well, hey, listen, I've got somebody sitting next to me who went through a similar experience when it came to fitness and competition, and who's ran a business when it comes to fitness. And so similar type of experiences. And she's sitting right here. It's my wife, Julie, and it's Jules Fit Mom on Instagram and in the Book of Faces. Yay. She's here. And so we're gonna do a little joint interview when it comes to kind of some things that you learn in that process, because with that credibility, now you're taking on new clients, but you've done this before. You did this before. You did a show or fitness things several years ago, and that's the point of Knucklehead. We want to talk about the things that didn't work out well. We want to talk about the things that people, quite frankly, just want to sweep under the rug. We want to talk about the struggles that maybe somebody listening is actually going through right now. So, and maybe y'all can do some back and forth about just the mindset of that whole competition. So
kind of curious, your thought process on this, because I know I felt like this, during my training, especially when I was looking online at other competitors, kind of seeing different things. I mean, just kind of getting some different ideas of what they do. I started getting into a little bit of comparison, like a little bit of, even people that just kind of had a different body type than me. I mean, I just kind of one of those things where I found myself getting caught up in that. Did you ever feel any of that or kind of struggle with that a little bit?
Most definitely, especially because I'm not the type to put myself out there in a way that a lot of people on like Instagram do or anything like that. So I don't care for the filters or anything like that. I care about being very real with my following and showcasing exactly who I am. But I still get caught up in it sometimes because I look at these girls, that have like hundreds of thousands of followers, and they always look a certain way. But what I really try to realize is that most of the time, a lot of that is filters and demonstrates poor self-esteem. But I've definitely found myself comparing myself to these other fitness competitors, and how I avoid it is that I just don't look at it. I have to stay away from it,
Yeah, well, I agree with staying away from it and avoiding it. I've got some good friends that compete, and they're very dedicated, to it. And for them, I do continue to follow them because I'm friends with them. But there's a lot that I just, because I felt like it was negatively impacting me a little bit, I just kind of stopped following if it was gonna cause me to feel like that. So was curious about that with you. And then also you had mentioned being really real and not using filters. And I wonder, like, who has time for that? I would rather see, like, that's why, my, Instagram's Jules Fit Mom. I'd rather see like behind the scenes, like what it really takes. And I don't have time to do everything I need to do to have that perfect picture before I take my gym selfie. You know what I'm saying? I'm in and out, right? But as a working mom, and someone who's extremely busy, hey, you know what? Fitness is still a huge priority in my life. So I like seeing, or hearing a lot about your mindset and how you found the sport that was optimal for you, not only for, what pushed you physically, but then what like really lifted you up emotionally as well. So that's why it was really interesting to me that you went into more powerlifting.
Yeah, powerlifting has been a super fun sport. For me, bodybuilding, it wasn't a good fit because mentally it just kind of wrecked me, going down to that low of a body fat percentage. I think I was somewhere around 8 to 10% body fat the last time I stepped on stage, and I was 130 pounds at 5'7". I'm 155 to 160 now, and I felt like crap.
Yeah.
My hormones were all over the place. My self-esteem was just like plummeted, once I got back up in body fat percentage, because you can't sustain that for a long period of time and possibly stay healthy. My image of myself in the mirror was very distorted.
So you said, so whenever you went back up, like the recovery or the what's that called, the post show
Off season
reverse dieting and all that stuff.
Oh my goodness.
That was all that messed with your self image and everything. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. It still affects me to this day. It's not as bad. It doesn't have as much of a hold as it used to. I'm a lot better now, but it's something I still struggle with. And it's been 2.5 years.
It's interesting, the reverse dieting. So the reason I had wanted to do a show was one of those, I always just wanted to do it. I wanted to discipline myself and just see if I could. So I prepped myself mentally for all of the prep, and then the show. I did no preparation for like post. Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, that was a train wreck.
Talk about knucklehead. And people think it's me.
No,
I'm just kidding.
I think I like broke out in a rash or something like.
Oh yeah, we went and had like
later,
barbecue or something.
Barbecue and beer and mac and cheese, and then this chow mix stuff that I had made. Yeah, it was a disaster.
Yeah.
Our bodies don't tolerate that stuff well after. A lot of people, what I see happens to them is like within a couple of days of their show, they've put on like 20, 30 pounds, like within that one weekend after the show, because they just go out and they don't have healthy patterns with the way that their relationship with food is no longer healthy.
Yep.
So they've been deprived of all of this stuff for so long that they go out and they party and they drink and they eat all this food for a couple of days, and then you see them and their faces are like chipmunks because like all this water that's just like been pushed into their skin. It happens a lot.
Yeah, no, I think I had a small version of that.
A little bit of that for sure. All right, so now that you're working, so you're working with a coach, doing powerlifting. You felt that mentally and physically this is able to help satisfy and scratch that itch. What have you learned about yourself, maybe since the last time you were on in that competition, and the fact that you're able to kind of flex, for lack of a better term, flex your muscles, so to speak, kind of business wise, getting into what you're doing now?
I really learned the power of networking and all of that. I learned a lot about that entire process. That's why I failed the first time, is because I didn't give networking enough credit. That the contest that I did too also really helped my self-esteem too, in a way, because I realized how powerful it is to be able to share the experience and the things that I go through. And with my transition to powerlifting, that's become very important to me, because I want to promote health in all ways to my clients, not just mental, physical, emotional, like all of it, because I want people to be able to sustain this lifestyle for the rest of their lives. And powerlifting, not everybody has to compete, not everybody has to get into strength sports or whatever, but if it's something you're interested in, powerlifting is extremely fun, because it's really awesome being super strong, especially being a woman. I mean, that's really cool, but it's also just the environment is better too. It doesn't matter if you're lifting 100 pounds out on that platform, the entire audience is going to be screaming their heads off for you. And that's cool. The powerlifting community is a very tight-knit group, and people are super supportive, which bodybuilding, you don't really get that. It's much more of an individual, very vain sport. to be honest.
I agree. I definitely do. So whenever I did my show, I went in with the intention. I really focused on my intention of the competition, which was I'm gonna do this for fun. I'm gonna take it seriously. I'm gonna do my best. So no matter what, I'm not gonna do a competition and not do it right. But I wanted to have fun with it, and I wanted to get out there and meet people and connect and be with other competitors. Um, and that's what I strive to do actually.
They
Whenever
had their headphones on and
they did,
they're like not even looking at you,
and
being
they're
mugging you in the back.
because before the show they're having sweets and all this stuff, to really kind of help you fill out, and so I'm trying to share. And I found it to be a little bit of a struggle, to connect, because I like to talk, and sometimes I get really distracted because I'm talking to someone, and that's what I wanted to do. I'm not going to do it to get.
Should try powerlifting, apparently.
Yeah,
Katelyn,
tell me about it. I need that many people
yelling.
yelling for me.
That's right. That's right. Look at me do a hang clean. I just did it. That's awesome. Snatched 160 pounds over my head.
Yes.
So, all right, that's exciting. I think that for a couple reasons, there's some lessons in there. Well, there are some lessons, and there's no question. But just because you start something doesn't always mean that you have to finish it, right? Sometimes just because you start it, what you learn in that process is actually more helpful than winning it, so to speak. And that's what I'm hearing a lot in kind of some of your experiences, Katelyn. I think that's as a knucklehead, we go in there with the full expectation that we're going to set the world on fire and win, and we're going to just kick butt and take names. And it turns out that, geez, sometimes there's other people who are more prepared, or some timing worked out better for them, or maybe they prepared a little bit differently or better than we did. So, there's a lot of lessons that we can glean from that. But you set a goal. There's a goal that you've set, and it's to own a gym, to run a gym. I'm going to screw it up. Tell people what your goal is.
So I actually want to start my own gym for people with PTSD, ultimately.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And ideally, I would love to have these all over the country within a couple of miles of all of the bases. That's the direction I see this going.
That's incredible. So these gyms are going to be just a place where people can pick things up and put things down, or is it part of a curriculum that you feel like has helped you, that lifting weights has been able to help you recover and deal with your PTSD?
It's really helped me to be able to recover from my PTSD. It's going to take a lot of red tape, but I'm very determined. I want to be able to link up with the VA and ideally start getting them to send referrals over, send people to my gyms to train on top of the therapy and everything that they're going through. That's my ultimate goal, is that the VA, I would like them to support this. I would like to get their support.
Well, 100%. So some of my issues that I had whenever I was in the Marine Corps, getting out, you get hurt, and then you go try to parlay that same type of workout intensity into the civilian world. And then, some poor decisions, some bad diet, some undiagnosed things with mental health. Geez Louise. I ended up being almost 240 pounds. So working out, lifting weights, taking responsibility for what you eat, taking responsibility for how you think about your diet and food, it's changed my life. Lost over 40 pounds or so over the last year. And it's incredible. Just the effect that exercise and just energy, calories, and where that comes from can have on your mental, your relationships, your finance, everything. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I always say my favorite thing to say is that fitness spills over. It really does.
Yep, for sure. Well, we appreciate you. Appreciate you taking some time. It is a Thursday night, and anybody who's listening, they can always go to support Katelyn. Tell people how to find you, Katelyn. How can people get in touch with you?
So you can find me as Woman Crush Weights on Instagram or Facebook, or just look my name up on Facebook. It's Katelyn, Katelyn Miller.
Fantastic. That's awesome. And if you're in the if you're in the same vein, meaning Facebook and or Instagram, you can check out Knucklehead Podcast. Come out with new episodes every Tuesday. There's some talk of us coming out with more episodes throughout the week. So, or maybe some Facebook Live videos coming up. So that's a potential. Just stay close to the press. We'll get the information out there. Oh, and if you want to, you can check out our YouTube videos. Some people have told us those are entertaining. Some people have helped them been put to sleep. There's a lot. It just we cater to both sides of the spectrum there. So don't be beta or be beta. It just depends. I'm just kidding. So anyway, we just want to encourage you. We want to encourage folks that if you're struggling with an issue with PTSD, if you're struggling, if you know somebody who's a service member, hey, you've got 2 recovering service members here that have been able to kind of learn from their experiences, be willing to go out there and screw up and make mistakes. And we really appreciate Jules Fitmom for co-hosting this episode with us and talking back and forth with Katelyn. So we appreciate y'all. With that, Katelyn, you got anything else?
That's it. Thank you so much, you guys. It was awesome to have both of you here this time. That's great. I love it.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Yeah, it was fun. My first one I was invited to. Ooh.
Oh, that's awesome.
She's told me no 43 other times.
I have been wanting to meet you. So this was kind of my doings.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
She set this in motion.
Yeah.
All right, we appreciate y'all. New episodes every Tuesday at Knucklehead Podcast. Subscribe. If you're not subscribing and leaving a review, you're wrong. Anyway, see ya. Talk to you later.